just a quick announcement before we start the episode. On June 12th, Carcat Day at 2 p.m. Central Time, Moosey, Justin, Domi, and I are going to get together, meet up live in person, and we're going to be doing a live Q&A. We'll also just be generally chatting, and maybe Domi and I will flex our voice acting muscles and do some line reading. But yeah, if you have any questions, I have a form that's linked in the show notes. Also, you can just email jaxyax@gmail.com. You can join the Discord, also linked in the show notes. Or, if you get there while we're still going, then you can ask a question there. The recording will be saved on our YouTube, which is youtube.com/@livelaughstuck. And the stream will be happening on Twitch, twitch.tv/Amberlin. All of that will be in the show notes as well for easy clickability. So, mark it in your calendars if you can come hang out. It'll be a lot of fun. And I hope to see you there. This will be our first time, all of us, meeting up in person. So I'm pretty excited about it. See you then, June 12th, 2 p.m., live Q&A. Welcome back to Live Laugh Stuck. I am Jackie, aka Jax, and this is another episode of Moosestuck.
Moosestuck.
Yeah. We are here for something that I thought would take a lot longer than it did, because this is Act 6 Intermission 3, aka Mina Quest, aka Openbound. I mean, there's like stuff in between those, but it's a lot of that.
Yeah. And the Read Homestuck YouTube playlist showed this as like 7 hours of reading. I'll buy it. I can read faster than people can speak the lines.
Yeah, and I also don't think you said that you didn't try to get all the dialogue options.
Yeah, one of the big ones was the kind of Lucy stand where that one troll would explain different character backstories.
right.
I just didn't. I didn't.
That's fair. Yeah, I tried to read every single one, but there were a few I missed because it's like, because you can be one character, and then as that character, you just need to go around and talk to everyone, including the person you just were. And I know I missed some of those. I did get some that I hadn't gotten before in previous playthroughs.
Yeah, I mostly just was following the map that was part of the game because it had like the little pop-up map. So I wasn't trying to completionist it. I was just trying to get the main path.
Yeah, the main path is long enough. It's a lot. The Ancestor fans are so oppressed. This is like all the characterization they get for those characters, except for Mina and Arania, who show up elsewhere all the time. But it's like, I think some of them show up later. I can't quite remember. But these 3 mini games are the primary, the only food that the Ancestor fans get. And I salute them. What did you think about I have this whole thing where it's like a summary of everything that went down and like a description of all the characters. Do you want me to go through a description of all the characters?
Oh, yes, please.
Okay, before I ask what you think about them.
Yeah, because I didn't get a good feel for a lot of the characters.
Yeah, that's fair. And I did like a quick thing. So what I did is I copied what Rafe.name had, and what he had was mostly, he had like the descriptions that Arania gave in the last act whenever she was like, oh, well, I guess you don't want to hear about all the cool shit that we used to do. So this is going to be both their Ancestor version and their current version. And then just like why they didn't want to join up with Mina, because this is Mina Quest. Mina's quest is building an army, and it doesn't fucking go well for her.
Yeah.
So, okay, so let's Tamara, which is Aradia's ancestor. She was the handmaid in her past life. You know what? I won't go too much through the description of who the ancestors were, because we kind of covered that already. And it's like, okay, I'm gonna do a side thing here, because The Dancestors, this is what they're called, the Dancestors. I've said that word a couple of
Why
times.
are they
but like
Dan?
Purim mentions that it's because they're both descendants and ancestors.
Oh, okay.
So they just call them Dancestors. I always read it as Dance Sisters.
Yeah.
So like they just,
That sounds dirtier.
you know what it does, Dance Sisters. The thing about the Ancestors is they were clearly intended to parallel the Alternian trolls' relationships. Like they were made to parallel that. Vriska molded her relationships based off of the diaries about the ancestors. But like even outside of that, they were made to mirror that. Their classes were hinted at as being the classes that the ancestor trolls have.
Mm-hmm.
Initially, but then I guess somewhere in the middle of doing that, Hussey realized that they were going to be real characters sometime in the comic and gave them different classes. And so the Alternian ancestor and the Beforean trolls, Beforean being like the dreamable ones we see, should have the same classes. But it's just bad world building that Hussey changed midway through, and that's just a problem with, I won't say bad worlding, it's more like a small retcon.
Mm-hmm.
Because like this is just what happens when you are creating a story as it evolves, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like there's kind of commentary on how like none of the Beforean troll relationships really mirror their Alternian counterparts or their Dancestors or anything like that. I mean, obviously there's some mirrors to it, and they start exploring relationships based on what they see in the other trolls. But it's just such a, I don't know. I just have such issues with it. Maybe issues is a strong word. So Damara in this is the did you have the Japanese translation on? So Damara, you went up and talked to her.
I did not. I think I just put it in Google Translate though.
Okay,
Or at
because
least some of it.
Yeah, I mean, it was created by Google Translate, so it's very bad Japanese. But I had I had a setting on the unofficial Homestuck collection that automatically translated it, which was a shock to me when I started. It's like, oh, these are just English words, and they fucking suck. It's very bad. Like I cannot stress how bad and racist it is. Like the Dancestors is like, oh, you thought that Hussey was getting like fucking woke pilled or whatever. Like, you know, people are like, oh, Hussey's giving into the woke mob with all this gay shit. And then you go back to the fucking Mina quest, is like racism, ableism, terrible, terrible, terrible.
Yeah.
That's what this fucking section is. It's so bad.
I think Cancri was also like a mockery of wokeness, basically.
Yeah. So all of the Beforean trolls are caricatures of people you would see on Tumblr. So kind of like how the Alternian trolls were like Redditors and forum users and just other internet people. The Beforean is like Tumblr. That's what it is. I mean, like even the chat boxes have like hashtags at the bottom, like you would on Tumblr, which I love. I wish I could have hashtags in my sentences, just like I say a thing, hashtag clarifications and shit.
I mean, you could technically do that verbally, but then you probably look like a very cringe millennial.
Yeah, no, I do that sometimes where I was talking to someone is like, I love this guy. I want to stick him in a blender, parentheses, positive.
Yeah. Yeah, I do that. Like with like derogatory, when you like just say something like, oh, they look like a Mac user, derogatory.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, so I think it's really neat, and especially because like you can click a button to like rebubble it, which is like like the rebubble is honestly more like Twitter than Tumblr. And you just get like a little thing about like people are calling you out for rebubbling this. It's like your followers have dropped and just all this other shit. You will never recover. Which is very funny to me.
Yeah.
And then Dave hacks one of the bubble memory things to just post random shit. Like he basically creates a Twitter bot in a dream bubble. Which is peak Dave. I know you still don't like Dave. This is where I started to love Dave. But yeah, I don't know. I fucking love Dave. God. But anyway, so Damara's racist. She's from Alternian Japan. Or before in Japan. Yeah, and she, I don't know, Refi.name said that she went crazy because Rufio, she caught Rufio cheating on her with Horace. But what happened was that happened, and Damara was real sad about it. And then Mina was like, okay, we need to get this group together to actually like beat this game because we're not doing a hot job of it.
Mhm.
And so in order to do that, she decided to poke at everyone's like personal conflicts since they were taking up too much time. And so she
Mhm.
like poured gas on the fire of everyone's personal conflicts, and it went very bad with Damara, who beat the shit out of her. And that's how. So it was kind of a mirroring with Aradia and Friska's Make Her Pay flash, if you
Mhm.
remember that, because that's how Mina got beaten to almost death and went off to die on her quest bed and became god tier.
Mhm.
But anyway, so now Damara is just fucking terrible. She's stuck Rufio's Lussus in a chest to suffocate to death.
Mhm. And you rescue it in the game.
Yeah, and you have to rescue it in the game. So it's just, it's a fucking time.
Mhm.
Just again, just racist, overly sexual, very bad.
Yeah. Uh, high schoolers.
Yeah. Yeah, well, so they're supposed to be, like, 19, which could be
Okay.
high schooler, but, like, I forget, like, who said it somewhere that they're 19, but, like, that's generally accepted as what so I know
That
I'm pretty
seems a
sure they
little
say
immature for 19-year-olds. I mean, not that 19-year-olds are the pinnacle of maturity, but
yeah,
that seems more like a 16-year-old behavior.
it does. Yeah, but no, they're supposed to be 19. Well, I mean, they could have been in the game for, like, I forget how long they were actually in the game before Mina decided to blow them all up,
Mhm.
so maybe that initially happened when they were 16, and then it just
So, in since this is an intermission, like what I still need a diagram of the events in chronological order. Like, is this in any particular time that we have reference for?
So we get some references with John going to sleep and interacting with them, but the dream bubbles are hard because they kind of exist outside of time.
Mhm.
So like because we meet Vriska later and she has been dead
Yeah.
in in reality in John's time for 2 years. But Vriska has
Okay.
spent like it's never said how long, but it's implied that she spent like sweeps dead and
Mhm.
sweeps in Troll is about 2.5, 3 years. So Friska's, according to her, like a lot of time has passed, but it's
Mhm.
been 2 years from like the real world perspective.
Okay.
Okay, so that's tomorrow. And I didn't put an order that we came across them. I just put it in order of astrology. That's easiest.
Mm.
Rufio is the fucking himbo. He's just so hot. He's just hot. But he's based off of, Rufio Bangarang from Hook,
Mhm.
in like appearance and everything. But he was the one who was the summoner. And yeah, and he's the one who cheated on Damara and is with Horus and keeps trying to break up with Horus and fails.
Mhm.
Yeah, and he just gets hit on by everyone. He has the Jake problem of everyone hitting on him. He's just so tired of it. And Mina, he likes Mina the best because Mina never hits on him. Matuna is one of our very own ableism characters. Just big ol' ableist character. Just fucking I mean, he's not ableist. He's like legitimately brain damaged. I forget exactly what it was, but like it's implied that he did something heroic to save Latula, and as a result, like experienced legitimate brain damage and now has a hard time with like coordination and talking and stuff like that. He says just a lot of crass, gross shit all the time. If you can understand his typing quirk, which few people can.
Mm.
How did you fare trying to read that?
I honestly don't even remember
That's
when they popped up.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That was his typing quirk was like extreme leet speak, but he also
Okay.
just said weird shit, so it was extra hard. Like it would have been hard to read if it was like in it without a typing quirk.
Mhm.
But anyway, and everyone is really terrible to him, especially Cronus. He's a weird one. Uh Kinkry. is the caricature of a SJW from Tumblr from 2012. It's so hard because there are some people who will write off everything Kankri says, but like the thing is he touches on like some legitimate points. He just takes them too far, which is the problem with that type of like SJW. Does anyone use that anymore? Does anyone call anyone an SJW anymore? I feel like that died out like 8 years ago or something.
I feel like either ironically or if they're being very earnest with their usage of it, then they're not someone you want to be around.
Yeah, absolutely. I have not heard that in a while, but he is
usually it's just I just still hear woke. I don't hear SJW anymore.
Woke has taken over SJW, I think. Social justice woke. Anyway, and it makes it very hard because then he ends up like insulting people through how he is condescending, or like just how he like says how underprivileged they are. He ends up insulting them and all this other shit, and he just talks so goddamn much.
Yeah.
And he slut shames Porum, and he's something else. I do think it's cute. He's like, obviously, there's nothing between me and Latula, because if there was, I probably wouldn't have a chance to notice, and just lists all these like cute things he's noticed about Latula and how much he pays attention to her and cares about her. And she's like, yeah, for sure. Because Kinkry Latula is real. But he's obnoxious and everyone tries to get away from him. And what's really funny is he ends up popping up in people's conversations, like even though they're not in the same dream bubble anymore. He just like pops up and like corrects them if they're being shitty about something.
Oh.
Like if they're potentially they're doing something that he thinks is problematic. It's very good. I love Kinkry. I love all of them. They're all fucking terrible. They're all the worst. Oh my god, he describes himself as relatively chaste, and you would not believe how much people cling on to that for kiki shit. It's so good. Anyway, Mulin is Nepeta's ancestor. So that's the cat girl. She is deaf, and she signs to talk, and she can sign gifts, which I think is great. But yeah, she's just hyper happy and loud now that she's deaf. And she wasn't always deaf. She became deaf after something Kurlos did in the same event that caused him to bite off his own tongue and sew his mouth shut. But I don't think they're pale. They're still besties, but I forget exactly what their relationship is. I didn't take a lot of notes on all of their
so many
relationship dynamics. I actually stopped taking notes after the second one. Like I started writing like the first is like, oh, Mina Quest Part 2. Something about like Mulin does shit and gifts. And that's it. That's the end of my notes for this. Then there is Porum, who is Kanaya's ancestor. She is the feminist who doesn't get along with Kankry. And
which that wouldn't make sense to me if Kankry's supposed to be an SJW.
I mean, that's kind of the point, though, right? Is that he's a bad SJW because he ignores like more legitimate points, because he still denies like he is the classic cishet male SJW. I mean, he's not cishet, whatever.
The mansplainer.
The mansplainer. There we go. That's what I'm trying to get to. The mansplainer SJW who like ignores whenever like women bring up real points. Then again, I just don't agree with the world building around the feminist that Porum's talking about, but I don't think that makes Porum wrong. I think that makes Hussy's world building bad. Like Hussy's world building around gender and sexuality when it comes to trolls is just bad. And I want to scrape it all out and redo it, because it's like because he's doing it from the perspective of someone who lives in a sexist, homophobic society. So it's hard for him to portray a culture that wouldn't be dealing with at least it's just they didn't think about it that hard. And Porum's the one who coins the word ancestor. She also fucks everyone apparently, which is great. I love it. Like Kankry slut shames her for it, but it's great. More power to you, girl. And she does hit on Karkat. A lot of people hit on Karkat. He's just running around trying to live his life.
Yeah.
Lotula is the rad girl ancestor of Terezi, who can't smell, which is made fun of as not a real disability.
I mean, I have
What do you think now, post-COVID?
Yeah, well, I have known somebody who just never was able to smell their entire life, which, I mean, it's a disability, right?
Yeah, and it's like, again, like, post-COVID, like,
Yeah.
COVID made people lose their sense of smell. I feel like a lot of people, like, understand that as an issue more, but it was just like a fake disability
The
for
lulls.
laughs in this, yeah, and it's like, okay, but, like, please consider. And then also, I just wanna say, I really want to read Omegaverse Homestuck stuff with Latula since, like, a lot of it's about pheromones and shit, and so, like, in a pheromone-heavy world, not having a sense of smell would be, like, a bigger
Mhm.
disability, and that's my 2 cents on that.
Anytime I'm helping my cousin take her dogs for a walk, I'm like, "Man, I'm glad I don't have to stop and smell things all the time."
Yeah. Yeah, and she just has the rad girl aesthetic. I love it whenever you walk by. I just love the little things that this game does, like, whenever you're walking by Aradia, and I mean, you might
I
not have
think I
because you
did.
might not have gone
Yeah,
the
I
wrong
did. I
way.
went
Oh, yeah,
past.
whenever you
Yeah.
yeah, you go past her and then you go back the other way, she's like, "Go the wrong way?" I'm like, "Fuck off, I went the right way because I'm exploring."
Yeah.
But yeah, and so Latula shows up with a skateboard, and, I don't know, I just think it's neat.
Mm.
Arania, Arania, Aranea is how Domi says it, is I mean, you know Aranea,
Mhm.
we've had her for quite a while, she's very talkative, Mina is, like, her only friend. I love her. She pays Mina to let her explain things.
Mhm.
It's so good. And she is on her quest to find Lord English's sister, so she's off to find Calliope, but she just doesn't know that her name's
Yeah.
Calliope. Horace is Equius's ancestor and is similarly sweaty and kind of creepy, and into robotics. And instead of just making legs for Rufio, he makes a fucking centaur body,
Mhm.
which is a choice. Kurlos, we kind of talked about before, how he had this thing that like made him bite his tongue off and sew his mouth
Mhm.
shut. But he is part of the clown cult, and he gets pieces of the god tier outfit to give to Gamzee and kind of mind controls Mulin with chuckle voodoos, clown religion, you know?
Yeah, I haven't dove very deep into the clan religion.
That's fair. Few have. It's clown religion. Point is they serve Lord English. Like Lord English is like their basically deity.
Oh, I did not realize
Um,
that.
worships Lord English as the angel of double death. Cronus, Eridan's ancestor, resident creep, humankin, greaser. He's just shitty. He's shitty and terrible, and I love him so
Are
much.
there a lot of greasers on Tumblr?
No, but he's humankin, you
Okay,
know?
I see.
Yeah. So that's his thing is he's a sex pest humankin, who tries to be very sensitive to hide the fact that he's a sex pest.
Hmm. Sounds like sounds like some people.
Right, yeah, God, I didn't date them, but I was, like, fuck buddies with someone who was, like, almost like this.
Yeah.
Just, like, on the verge, like, I feel like one rejection would, like, swing him over to Cronus'
Yeah.
side.
Or like just a
Um,
lot of entertainers or something like I'm thinking Joss Whedon type of
oh my
stuff.
god, yeah. God, yeah, a lot of oh my god. It's like you were feminist for Buffy and even shitty then, like, we found out even
Mhm.
keep finding out more about how shitty he was. But yeah,
Yay.
um,
My favorite
then
archetype
Mina.
of human.
Yeah, I know. It's so funny because, like, Cronus is just like once Cronus appeared, he was considered, like, the worst character in Homestuck until, Hive Swap Friend Sim that introduced a similar but even worse character. So, someone drew art of, like, Cronus passing a baton to, the new character Zebra, who then looks at it and the baton just says "worst Homestuck character." And just it's so funny.
Mhm.
But yeah, and we all know Mina. It's Mina. It's her quest. Uh she's great. And I've been saying her last name wrong because Patience and Pacies is alliterative. So it's Patience and her last name is Pacies. And I've been saying like Pixis.
What is
Um,
Pacious?
yeah, like Pacious or
Hmm.
Pacies. Um,
Is it in Mandarin Chinese? Is that why the
I
X
don't
is a
know. I thought it
SH
was like,
sound?
isn't that French or
Oh,
something?
I don't know. I don't know how French pronounces X's, but in like
I
Mandarin
have no idea.
Chinese, the X is used as like a SH sound.
Yeah, I don't know. Someone else, other people know, and I'm sure they'll correct us.
Mm.
Um, but I love the hashtag where she's talking about building an army to do shit, and she's like, hashtag this time I might not even blow us all up with a bomb. I love it. I love it so much. Um, and then there's a bit of cursed where she's like, I think my dance sister's name was Fieri or
Mhm.
something, which is I forget if I've mentioned on this podcast or to you specifically about how there was a lore drop on January 1st, 2019. It was this Skynet.com or whatever uh, ARG
Mhm.
that had files hidden in the code that Hussey was like, I didn't think that they would find them so quick. It's like, what are you talking about? They found them in like 30 seconds. This is the Homestuck
Yeah.
fandom. You always underestimate your fandom.
I vaguely remember that,
Anyway,
yeah.
and it had, yeah, and like one of the lore things is that Guy Fieri is an ectobiological clone of God, some other people. Don't make me look it up. It's fucking terrible. But anyway, and the contest was trying to figure out a name for him, and it's like, oh yeah, there's a new like fuchsia blood that hatched. What's her name? Fieri. Yeah, let's just call him Fieri. But he's a guy, so Guy Fieri. So that's how Guy Fieri got his name in the Homestuck
Mm.
canon. Is he's named after Fairy, except did not remember her name correctly. Oh, so out of all those, what are your thoughts? You don't have to say for every single one. Just what are your thoughts on the
Oh,
characters?
it's just so hard to remember like any specific ones. Just that like Kankry rubbed me the wrong way when I was
Yeah,
doing it.
yeah,
Um Man, it's also been like a few weeks since I played the game, so it's harder to like pick up the
yeah.
like to open it back up to whereas like I could just navigate to a page if it was like a specific page.
Do you want me to would getting pictures of them
No, I
help?
have pictures. I have the like little wiki
Oh,
open. So I'm looking
oh,
at
gotcha.
them.
Yeah, that's fair.
Um like I remember
It's
Latula and her skateboarding or hoverboard or whatever it was.
I think it was a maybe I think it was a skateboard, but I don't know.
Yeah. And just part of the game where you like switch around and have to grab that or something, but I don't know.
Yeah, you have to skate down rails
Yeah.
to prove that you're rad.
I don't feel like I know any of them
Yeah, no,
enough to really like have an opinion.
that's fair. That is your general impression. That is most people's general impression of these trolls the first time they read this comic, unless they just get that Dancester bug. It's taken several rereads and just listening to Dancester fans for me to get a lot of vibes, and I still don't fucking know Matuna. Matuna remains a mystery. Matuna and Horus is also kind of iffy
Mhm.
on like vibes, but I get most of the rest of them. And I love so many of them. They're all fucking terrible. I forgot how bad Cronus was, TBH. Like, Cronus fucking
Mm.
sucks. Oh my god, he's so good though. Okay. Um so that's the characters, and yeah, it's a walk around game. You just open chests to find things
Mhm.
to it's like Mina stalking Carcat for half of the game. Um, which is fun. Carcat's just trying to get the fuck away from everyone, but he promises since because everyone else turns Mina down, and he's like, "Hey, listen, I'm asleep right now, so I can't actually join your army. But if you meet up on the meteor, I'll hop off my meteor." And I guess they can physically enter the dream bubble and help. I don't understand. Listen, I've read this so many times, and still don't understand the physics of dream bubbles
Mhm.
sometimes. But like if it intersects, then I'll hop off the meteor and join you on your
quest.
quest.
Yeah.
On the Mina quest.
Mm-hmm.
Which I hear most often referred to as Openbound rather than Mina quest, which is funny because I asked Domi and she was like, yeah, Openbound is just like the original like file name for the game. Like that's how we found out it like Openbound, but like officially in the comic it's called Mina quest.
So they were like, this is the open world section of the game, I suppose.
Yeah, because it's like Earthbound,
mm-hmm.
Openbound, I don't know, Homestuck, because Homestuck is based off of Earthbound, the name.
I just now, I don't know why it sounds like they are similar words. Earth, home, bound, stuck.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. It's like that's where the name came from. It's just a play on Earthbound. So, your notes on the game in general is you were not into this game design.
No, not. Okay, like one of the notes I took down was like, I found the minimap image after I wrote this down, but I said, like, why is there no minimap in the game? Even I knew how to make a minimap in 2008, which is when I was like 18 and making some of my early games. And just like having to backtrack a ton, just being very kind of wander and dialogue, well, not very gamey. Just, it's interactive fiction more than anything. I liked the art, picking up stuff in treasure chests that just is, again, more exposition and not really useful for anything besides the like switch A, switch B puzzle quest type of thing.
Yeah.
Like just game wise, it's not like fun.
Yeah, like 90% of the chests had nothing to do with anything.
Yeah. So I was like, I just am gonna open the things marked on the map.
Yeah, because like some of it did have fun lore, but then some of it was just like, here's some money. I like money. Then here's some money, but this is like the third game, so I already have so much money that this is pocket change to me, and I'm gonna throw it off the side of the cliff because it means nothing.
Yeah.
One thing that I noticed was that there's a lot of dialogue that it's like, when you open a chest and you get something, it's like, oh, blah 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 blah. Unless you're this character, then blah 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 blah. And I'm like, you have triggers to tell you what characters being here. Why aren't you using those?
Like,
hey, you have the triggers.
As far as I'm concerned, it just means less backtracking, so do it.
I guess. I just like if-then statements too much.
Yeah.
I love interactive fiction because I can, like, I have a hard time continuing on with making the game because I just want to put in like a bunch of different like if-then scenarios.
Yeah. Different edge cases.
Right. I fucking love it so much. So it kind of annoys me when someone has it in their palm of their hand and they could have just made some generic comment, but they said comment unless you're this character, then comment. Like, don't do that to me.
As someone, me, who likes to make shitty games, that also feels very my style.
Yeah.
In Christmas Horse 2023, I literally, you unlock a door by giving an elf some coffee, so they go to the bathroom. And I was just like, oh, thank you for the coffee. In the dialogue, it was like, thank you for the coffee. Now pretend that I walk away, because programming me walking away would actually be a lot more work. And then they disappear.
That's so funny. That's good shit. That's fair. You weren't a fan of the music either?
Well, with the one character, it was like that pseudo dubstep kind of music. And after a while, it got grating. But I know it changed off once you like switched to other characters.
Yeah. Do you remember which character it was?
I think it was just the default you start as was just Mina.
Yeah.
I'd have to open it back up, but I don't remember for sure.
Yeah. I don't like Latula's. I don't like the rad gamer girl music. Like, I appreciate it aesthetically.
That one had lyrics, didn't it?
It did. It did have lyrics, which fucks me up. I can't do lyrics and like read things.
Yeah.
Maybe other people can. I was talking to my mom and she was getting ready for bed and she just wanted some background stuff as she was getting ready for the bed. So she puts on the news and I'm like, but you're talking to me.
Yeah. She had the news I can't do that. I can't do multiple audio input sources at once that are both vocal data.
Right. I can't go to sleep with it. Like, some people like listen to music to fall asleep, and I'm like, it's got to be no lyric.
I do listen to bedtime stories from a specific channel.
That's
Like,
fair.
then you're just focusing on this really mundane story and then you fall asleep.
Yeah. I guess I have tried to listen to like Justin McElroy has a podcast with one of his friends that's I forget what it's called, but it's about cereal. And so they just talk in really calming voices about cereal news and how they release these new flavors. And have you tried this new Choco Crunch or what the fuck ever it is? And that's great,
Yeah.
and shit like that I can get.
Mhm.
But anyway, yeah, I just didn't really like Latula's. Like it hit exactly what it was trying to do, right? Objectively, it's great. I don't like it.
Yeah! What's up, gamers? I'm Game Girl, and I'm here to show you that girls can game too. Don't go easy on me, guys, unless you want to get beat by a girl. Are you ready? Well, let's do this! Yo, I'm the Game Girl, and I got the swords because I whip butt and game hardcore.
Back in 2004 again.
Right. It's just, that's why it drives me so crazy when people act like Homestuck was made for the young generation of the time, like the teenagers of the time, or is meant for continuously just like 13 to 16-year-olds. I'm like, it was made for Hussey's age group and no one else. But yeah, a lot of text, just multiple notes about how much text there is.
It's like, I don't want to read all of what Cankry's saying.
Yeah, to be fair, you really don't have to. I enjoy it. I enjoy reading it because like it does offer insights into beforeign culture, which can reflect on Alternian culture. So it is good for, excuse me, it is good for troll culture world building if you just like take 90% of what he says with a whole heap of salt.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Right.
my notes is that Mina Sprite with the constant smile looks like she has a milk mustache from the side. And then Google Docs is bullying me because I spell mustache with an O, and it says we don't allow British spellings in here. If you want British spellings, you have to switch to British English and not American English because we hate cross-cultural exchange. Aradia does the double pistols and a wink, which is only notable because I've been doing, the ship tier, the ship name tier episodes, and there were a couple of ships that referenced Aradia. Like there's a Aradia and Jake double pistols and a wink ship name, I'm pretty sure. And I'm like, does Aradia do that? Because I think Jake does it. Aradia also does it. There's a lot of Aradia and Jake ship names, but that's just because they're both Indiana Jones coded. Well, Aradia is Indiana Jones coded, and Jake is Laura Croft coded.
I'll keep that in mind next time we see Jake.
He has, like, for one, he has Laura Croft on his wall. He has a lot of shit like that, and he has thigh holsters for his guns. Like,
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, Jake is like a femme action hero coded. Like that's what he is. Like there's a lot of trans reading into Jake. Because of that. I like him as trans mask, but that's because I'm trans mask and I like everyone as trans mask. So that's just how I am.
Yeah. I did also write that there was a reference joke, I think, because Hussey mentioned spending Kickstarter money, and I was like, on the engagement ring for Vriska or something.
Yeah, I had that down. I say down here is like you can see where I'm scrolling. But I do have that a note down towards the bottom somewhere. Yeah, no, that's a real fucking bad joke in light of like how the Kickstarter actually went. Because yeah, it was a joke. It's like, hey, because there's been like some promotions for the Kickstarter over the things, and then like by this time it ended, which means I was actively reading by this point because I backed the Kickstarter. And yeah, the Kickstarter ended, and Hussey joked about like embezzling it to buy a ring for Vriska to propose to her. And then considering it's been 12 years and we have 2 parts of a game and they kept like asking for money afterward, and just the money's gone in a really mysterious way. I have so many issues with it because, like, again, I'm a backer, so I get the Kickstarter updates. But you
Mhm.
know what? We don't get fucking updates. Like,
Yeah.
people have been teasing High Swap Act 3 stuff, like, at last year's, Stuck at Home Con, SawCon, as it's more commonly known,
Mhm.
which is a fan-run event. It's run by I actually helped mod for the first one, but then, stuff
Yeah.
happened. You know my life, stuff happened. But anyway, at last year's, they had, like, official What Pumpkin teases of High Swap Act 3, and we still have not gotten an update on the Kickstarter about it. No, like, if you do not go to the fan conventions, if you're not in very specific circles and following what very specific circles are doing, then you have no fucking idea what's going on with this game, and it pisses me off so much. But yeah, no, so it's a very funny in retrospect that Hussey jokes about, like, giving all the Kickstarter money away.
Which
Just
side
a
note,
bad look.
I've just never ever wanted to start a Kickstarter, even though I could really use like, I don't know, a vacation from a full-time job so I can work on a game. But I'm just
Yeah.
like, man, I'm gonna forget stuff, or I'm gonna get tired of my idea and abandon it, and this is just not gonna be a good time. I'm just never gonna do Kickstarter.
I was tempted to one time. I have this visual novel that I was trying to make, but I very much suck at drawing, which isn't a burn on me. You're not everyone can draw to the level of a visual novel, right?
Mhm.
But I have this story laid out. So I was trying to have like an end goal of by the end of the year, I would have enough prepared to be able to show for a Kickstarter so then I could actually start like paying artists and stuff. Like I had an artist draw up some
Yeah.
like mock-ups and stuff of some characters. And then I just realized this isn't going to happen. 1 year with like having an IRL job and all this other stuff going on
Mhm.
isn't going to happen. So I stopped.
Yeah, but that's also, yeah, that's a lot more concrete though. For me, it'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
this is my bill money. Also, I hate I hate programming now. Whatever.
Yeah, for real. But yeah, so I don't know. I just want to more people need to give me money for this so I can quit my job and just do podcasting and game dev full time.
Mm.
Would be great. Please just give me I would probably need like what, $4,000 a month because you have to take in account like the taxes and shit that you'd have to do
Hmm.
to make up for everything.
I hate it.
So yeah. Speaking of the Kickstarter stuff, I'm pretty sure that there's like one of the things you can get out of a chest is a scalemate, and it's called highly desirable merchandise. And I'm
Hmm.
pretty sure that was a crossover for some cross promotion for scalemate plushes that they had at the time.
Hmm.
That's funny. It's like I appreciate the fucking I appreciate the hustle.
Yeah,
I appreciate the
the
hustle,
hussy
but
hustle.
like the hussy hustle, but it's so funny when all the links are dead. Like
Mm.
Homestuck could have been so fucking profitable for Hussey if they had someone who understood merchandise, you
Hmm.
know? Like, because I mean, they had a We Love Fine eventually, but even then, like, no, I'm just throwing stuff over here and that's making a lot of noise. And even then, like, they still didn't take full advantage of everything Homestuck had to offer, right? Like that We Love Fine, they were it in Hot Topic for a while, and then We Love Fine is fucking dead now.
I don't know what We Love Fine is.
It was I forget if it was We Love Fine or Buy Fans for Fans, or was it For Fans Buy Fans? But and maybe We Love Fine turned into For Fans Buy Fans, but it was like a website that did like fandom merch, right?
Hmm.
Like it did Homestuck, it did some anime, it did I think it did Ruby, it did like a bunch of shit. So it was just like a website for like fandom merch,
Okay.
but it's all dead now. But like, I mean, you have all the shirts, you have the God tier pajamas. Then you can do God tier pajamas for ones we don't like. No, like I haven't seen. But you have so much that you could do with Homestuck merch, and it just went goddamn nowhere. Like Kickstarter money, merch money. Like the problem with
Yeah.
Hussey is they did not hire the right people for their company. They didn't hire a PR manager. We fucking know that based off 2019. They didn't hire, as far as I know, they hired one person for merchandising at one point in 2019. I never heard it go anywhere after that.
Hmm.
But like, like you could have gotten so much money out of merch. Like so much money, including from the Stalemate plushes that just didn't stick around. So it's just funny seeing all these dead links for shit that doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, Hussy's there. Hussy's just hanging around. Weird little orange guy. I mentioned Dave's meta reluctance because whenever Mina talks to him, he's just like, yeah, I mean, Lord English seems like this big bad that I'm supposed to defeat, but I just don't really feel like it. But then again, like, is not wanting to defeat him part of the whole denial of the call thing? And am I really doing that? And that seems kind of cliche. And just like, like he just gets very meta about his role in the story, which is just peak Homestuck. Like, oh my God, there's this one really great John post that I read that was some John meta about like John's role in the story. And it's just, this is why Homestuck Made This World is so good, because people with literature degrees, like media analysis professionals, are the people who really understand Homestuck the most, because it is about story tropes. And the characters aren't just acting as characters, they're acting as functions of a story. And they are like punished and rewarded based on like how they interact with their story with the narrative. It's very good. Smarter people than me have said so much about it.
I'm just a programmer.
Yeah, I mean, I like analyzing shit. It's just, you know, there are people who like have degrees in analyzing shit.
Yeah.
Oh, and let's go to John. So this is going to be a bit out of order. I did all like the most of the Mina quest in one thing, but you mentioned that you weren't sure what the planets were. So these are the kids' lands and Skya.
Right.
So, you know,
I remember
John
that they
was
got shrunk down.
Yeah, so they got shrunk down, and Jade's keeping them, and then Jade will shrink them down to like go hang out in John's house, right? Instead of on the battleship. So that's what that is.
Okay. Wait. So, but I think maybe they mentioned it in the comic, but she can't enlarge and embiggen the ship itself, but she can shrink them down without access to the green sun.
They don't mention embiggening the ship. They mention how like she can't break the speed of light.
Okay.
Our idea was embiggening the ship.
Yeah.
And I don't think that ever gets mentioned as a thing. But because this is her normal space powers stuff, but breaking the speed of light would require green sun stuff.
Which she should embiggen the ship.
Yeah. Personally, I think some of it is just hand waving as an excuse to make their trip take the same amount of time that the meteor does.
So are we actually going to get there in the next act?
In the next act?
Or, you know, like the Act 6 Part 4?
We'll get there at some, you know what? Do you want me to look up and see what act we actually get to the destination?
Yes.
Okay, well, Act 6, Act 4 isn't even 100 pages.
Okay.
So let's check the intermission. Oh, I guess that is because he does the intermission at the same time. And so Act 6, Act 4, and Intermission 4 is not even 100 pages, about 9,000 words. Yeah, it is not until Act 6, I think.
What are we doing in the meantime? Is 2 acts just the last year in transit?
Kind of. I don't know. I don't know what to say without spoilers.
And then
yeah,
follow
kinda.
up, when was the Gigapause? I'm still looking for that.
Oh, the Gigapause happens in Act 6, I'm pretty sure.
A few months. 665 has 1 year long pause.
Yeah. Yeah, I was reading. I was active during that point. Well, I guess not reading because it was down for a year. Because there was that, and then there was the Megapause that I think we already missed.
Oh, yeah?
But the Gigapause was the big one. Okay, maybe I'm lying about the Megapause. I thought there was one. Oh, yeah, there's so many pauses. How long was the longest pause? Forgotten Homestuck Fact. Oh, but it doesn't tell me when.
Was the longest pause the year? The 1 year?
The longest pause was a year. There was a Megapause for 8 months, a mini Gigapause for 3, a Megapause for 2. Yeah, so another 2, 1.5, 2.5 in 4 days. But that doesn't tell me when. But yeah, Gigapause is coming up. Fucking worse. The Gigapause is fucking brutal. Just wait, it's fucking brutal. But yeah. So yeah, it's John's 50th birthday. He is in his house with Jade watching Con Air, and he is disillusioned with it.
Yeah, he is finally maturing and becoming a jaded teenager.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know. I just made a little mention that John thinks the bromance between John Cusack's character and Nick Cage's characters is more moving than Cage reuniting with his wife. It's just just a throwback to my Gay Stuck series. It's like, this gay John, it's because you're in love with Dave. But and then he gets like super mad that Dave Sprite broke up with Jade. It just seems like a lot. He wanted to be angry about something, and he learns about that and just gets up in arms. And then Dave Sprite does do kind of a shitty thing because he leaves a fake dad note for John. It's like, you know, on the anniversary of his father's death, here's a parody of the notes your dad used to leave. We both made a note about how John obsesses over Dave Sprite's ass.
How's the goat's butt work?
Yeah. And then John goes to confront Dave Sprite in a rage, yells at the sky where he sees a watermarked Dave Sprite over the sky, but Jade doesn't see it. So it's like, I don't know what's going on with that. And says some hurtful things to Jade in the process. And then he just I guess has a rage nap. He just falls asleep. It's like Vriska isn't looking in on you, so I don't know why John has narcolepsy now, because this is not the first time. Well, I guess the last time he ran into a wall and passed out. But this time, it's just Huzzy was like, okay, he needs to be in dream bubbles now, so he's going to just rage blackout in his fucking driveway.
Me after I get home from work.
Right. And then we see, maybe not then, because again, I don't know exactly what order this happens in, but we see PM has been chasing Beck Nor for 2 years. They see the cracks in Paradox Space, and Beck Nor kind of is like, hey, this is kind of fucked up. And PM's like, don't fucking care, gonna kill you. And Beck Nor goes into a dream bubble to like chill for a sec. And it is a memory of the time he killed Mom and Dad, and then Rose and John find him, and they have the fight and die and everything. And this time John shows up, like revives from like his dead self. I got confused about this TBH to realize this was like John. But yeah, revives as his dead self and fights Jack Noir, except this time he like knows more about his power, so he does this windy dissolve thing to bonk Beck Noir over the head. That gives him a random silly hat, which is fun. Rose is also there for some reason, just shows up in the dream bubble and waves and then disappears before John can go talk to her. Then PM catches up with Beck Noir, and the chase resumes. And John wanders into Tavros and Friska's bubble. You noted weird, moody horse shit, which is, yeah, that's every time the desert shows up, it's weird, moody horse shit.
He just associates horses with the desert for some reason.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know, New Mexico vibes? I don't know. I'm making shit up. And then John finds what Rafe.name calls the Ring of Orbs No Fold. I don't know if that's ever called that in the comic. Ever.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's why I like...
Because it's just missing all the little circles on it.
Yeah, I always assumed it was just like a gold ring as in reference to Lord of the Rings. But apparently, like I'm guessing it's from the Alpha Kid session, since they don't prototype anything, they don't get any orbs, so the ring remains blank. Is my assumption. But I don't know, because I never knew that that's what this was called. I didn't really know where it came from. I still don't really know. I just kind of accepted that it was here.
Yeah.
You know?
That's me reading Homestuck.
Yeah, that is also, you know, me reading Homestuck before I start reading what other people say and then rereading it like 5 times. This is the ring that Hussey tried to propose to, or did propose to Vriska with, and now Tavros had it and then dropped it, and John and Tavros have a squabble over it, and it's so fucking funny because John's like ready to give the ring back, and then Tavros is like, yeah, it's for my girlfriend, and then Vriska comes up and John realizes that's who Tavros is referring to as his girlfriend, and suddenly, no, he can't have the ring, actually. it's just like, John said like he was fucking tired of romance and sure he had this thing with Vriska, but like that was years ago and who even knows. But as soon as Vriska shows up, he's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, what do you mean you already dated me?" That kind of
I
sucks.
missed out on
Like,
that.
like you missed out on date. Like, I don't know. He's clearly disappointed that he didn't get to date Vriska, and Vriska is now over him because they already dated. And like does not want Tavros to have this ring because does not want him to give it to Vriska.
Yeah.
And it's so fucking funny. I don't know. Like it's just like, yeah, sure. He said it's different saying that you're over romance when you're on a ship with your ectobiological sister, your grandma, a crow version of your friend, and a bunch of like salamanders and shit versus like seeing your crush in person.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's very funny. And he's sad that Vriska's dead, and it's cute.
Yeah. She's just like, whatever. It's whatever.
Again, like she's been dead for who knows how long by now.
Mhm.
But Vriska explains her plans. She has the plain black map of the furthest ring and is
She's
yeah. You explain it because I just can't
I
word
don't
right
know.
now. Okay,
That
so
somehow it's getting cracks in it.
yeah, because Lord English is destroying dream bubbles and killing all the ghosts, and every time he destroys a dream bubble, it creates a crack in the furthest ring that then shows up on the map.
Okay.
Because the furthest ring doesn't have any fixed points until he starts breaking shit. So
Mhm.
Vriska is trying to use it because it is a map to a treasure that is said to be Lord English's weakness.
Wait, wasn't that what the green sun was supposed to be or something? Didn't we already go
The
into
green
paradox space at one point to look for a secret weapon?
destroying the green sun was supposed to stop Jack Noir,
Right.
Noir. But that was just a lie to get them to create the, I guess not a lie, but like withholding truths to create the green sun in the first place.
Mhm. But yeah, they got the map thing. Doing a map.
They're doing a map. So there are the 3 ongoing plans of Vriska finding the treasure for the ultimate weapon to defeat Lord English, Mina raising an army to defeat Lord English, and Arania looking for his sister Calliope to defeat Lord English.
Mhm.
And you mentioned that Vriska talking about Lord English being the final big bad leaves you suspicious.
Yeah, just I don't know. I feel like stating this is the final boss in the story. I don't trust anybody in this story.
Yeah.
It's like I put the real final boss is probably Lord English's mom.
Or the fandom incarnate,
Yeah.
which isn't a bad guess for
A
Homestuck.
Final Fantasy boss. You defeat the boss and then it's like God.
Yeah, I mean, Lord English has already literally killed the author, so. And then what's happening on the meteor is Rose alchemizes booze
Mhm.
and starts dating Kanaya with the most important panel in Homestuck is the Rose Kanaya kiss. I cannot stress how insane I was when that dropped. Like, it's just so much. Like, you just don't see gay stuff like that in webcomics at the time. And I know we had like the Jake and Dirk's decapitated head kiss, but that was like to bring Dirk back from the dead, right?
Mhm.
Like it was also a romantic gesture with a like volcano erupting in the background, but just the Rose Kanaya kiss was something else. Because like this was 2012. I was reading a shit ton of webcomics at the time, and unless the webcomic was explicitly a gay webcomic, you did not see stuff like that at the time.
Yeah.
In the majority of them, at least.
I mean, even now,
And
I still see media. It's like, oh, this girl is saying she likes this other girl. Huh?
yeah,
They did it. They did the thing.
right. This actually got into some shit on Tumblr. There's a lot of like Tumblr tournaments now that we have polls, and so there was like which is like the best queer media or the most essential queer media or whatever, and it was between Homestuck and Good Omens.
Mhm.
And people were like, "What are you talking about? Homestuck isn't queer media." I'm like, "What are you saying?" It's like it's peak queer media. Like I love Good Omens too, but like Homestuck was such queer media.
Mhm.
The Rose Kanaya kiss was just fucking insane. And then yes, Rose falls down a staircase
Mhm.
because Rose is drunk And it's not looking good, my guy. It's got a sense of foreboding. And this is where you said you still find Dave really annoying.
I don't remember what happened right when Rose was falling down the stairs.
Dave was making up raps.
Oh, yeah, my favorite thing that he does.
Yeah. And then we do the Mina and Vriska meetup. There was a loading screen fake out that I fell for. Because there is a thing that says don't open the dialogue until after this is loaded, and you fucking wait, and it's a fucking psych out, and it's like, haha, you just stared at this for 1 minute and 30 seconds waiting for it to load, and I'm like, you fucking piece of shit. I know you pull stuff like this.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the second time that they did a
I think it is.
fake loading screen.
I think it is, yeah. You're probably right. So it's just like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Finally, Mina and Vriska meet up. I'm just going to read the whole summary that I just copied directly from Refe.name. Most of the other stuff I tried to paraphrase. Finally, Mina approaches Vriska, who has decided to raise her own mob of ghosts to bait English into furthering her treasure hunt. Learning that their plans are in conflict, they're not really, they challenge each other. Mina forks John awake again. The Thief of Life and the Thief of Light are set to rumble when they make the mistake of calling for backup. A huge crowd of troll ghosts gather, most of them mistaking the situation for a costume party and frustrating the thieves' attempt to fight. One cool lore drop here is that Mina fucking hates her god tier outfit, so she switches up what it looks like. And this is the first time we've seen them change what their god tier outfit can look like. And I think it's the last time we see it. It sucks that it was this tiny pixel thing, because I would have loved to see those outfits up close. But the amount of redesigns people do for god tier outfits is so good. It's so good. Anyway, there are only 24 troll players by name, but for each one who lived in the alpha timeline, there are a multitude of ghosts who died in Doom offshoot timelines. Tavros weaves frantically through the crowd, looking for the ring, hoping in vain that John dropped it. Arania tries to broker peace between her best friend and her ancestor. She can't stop them from fighting, but she does get them to agree that they will combine their plans if their duel ends in a draw. They fight. Switch to Caliborn scribbling out the pictures in the narrative of Calliope's book, where she wrote herself insert into the events. So that's why, you had a question about if it was just a story. It was just Calliope recording the events with a little RPF thrown in.
Okay.
And then John wakes up with the ring, which is crazy that he was able to bring that from being asleep.
Gasp.
This also has the on-screen canon incest ship of Cronus and Aridin, where Cronus gets Aridin go out on a date with him. I just had to make a note of that as the resident incest shipper. That's how it ends, is John waking up with the ring.
What's he gonna do with the ring? What's gonna happen next time?
Next time on Homestuck. What do you think about this section? What do you think about Act 6, Intermission 3?
I guess the main takeaway is that there are several plans to defeat Lord English, but the rest of it's mostly backstory or
literally, yeah.
Yeah. And some shipping.
Yeah, most of it is character building for characters you will primarily never see again. It's just a lot of Tumblr jokes in the form of a very long-winded walkthrough. And yeah, it's almost no plot relevant information. Not that a lot of Homestuck is about plot relevant information. I mean,
I know.
Look how Act 1 was. But I mean, this one is really just this has been the least plot relevant since Act 2, it feels like.
No forward momentum.
Really it's just there are 3 plans to defeat Lord English. Vriska and Mina are combining their plans, or they will if the fight ends in a draw and they start the fight. But their plans aren't in conflict. I know I've read this multiple times, but it's the most obvious thing when Vriska's well, we need to gather a large group of trolls, so Lord English will try to kill them all and make more cracks in the thing so I can follow the map. And there's some dumb person who's trying to recruit a lot of trolls.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. If only these two pieces could be connected together.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, Vriska, you're supposed to be smart. I don't fucking know, man. I liked Openbound. I remember people did not like Mina Quest when it came out, and I did. Even though I still have not read every fucking thing. But I tried this time. I got most of it.
Mm-hmm.
What else can you do besides just look up it transcripted or a read through or something? Oh yeah. So Act 3 and Intermission 3 together were like 12,000 words, or not 12,000, 120,000 words. So we will blast through fucking Act 6
Yeah.
and Intermission, or fuck. Act 6, Act 4, and Intermission 4. I fucking hate trying to say anything in Act 6. It's so dumb.
Mm-hmm. And the thumbnail is a green person with a thing on his head. On the Rafe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the Rafe.name summary thing.
It sure is. I was confused because for 6.5 it's a green person.
Oh, right.
So
well, and on 661 is also a green person.
There's just a lot of green people in Act 6, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But so we might go through fucking Act 6, Act 5 too, as well.
Okay.
We'll see. Definitely Act 6, Act 4. Fucking hell.
Cool.
Okay, sorry, I'm so tired. This is so much.
Fine.
Because it's a lot of new characters.
I know.
That like I don't know. I just love them all, but there's just so much to have all at once.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's truthful to say trickling in exposition is not a strong suit of Hussies. They just like to put everything, just like all of it.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. I might get people to disagree with me, but I think that's true. I cannot think of a time that they trickled in exposition ever. It's usually just dumps.
Yeah. Well.
Anyway, there's still fun stuff coming up. I promise. I promise.
Okay.
But yeah, do you want to plug your stuff?
Well, I am still working on making an update to my Playdate game pack, Rachel's game pack for the Playdate. And Playdates are not back ordered anymore. If you did want to buy a Playdate, you don't need to just to buy. You can buy my PC games instead too if you want. Moosed.itch.io.
Nice. What's a Playdate?
It's an indie handheld gaming device with only black and white colors and like a 400 by 240 pixel resolution.
Oh.
It has a crank on the side. Not for charging the thing, but for as an analog controller.
Oh, yeah. I think I remember. Okay, yeah. Hearing stuff about that.
Yep.
Yeah, because I listen to the Besties, and Griffin McElroy is really into weird handheld game stuff. Well, cool. I have that, the link to that in the description. It's always down in the description. There's a bunch of links down there, TBH. I have a TikTok now. Saying this is always so funny because it's like you'll hear it in 4 months, and I've posted about the TikTok elsewhere by now. I do have a TikTok now, so you can go see that. I'm uploading clips from all of my old episodes, stuff I'm making a lot of new clips for those. Which I have not done before. The only ones I'm not making clips for are my Moosestuck episodes because it's just the fucking comic. You know? It's just the comic. But I'm also posting a lot of backlog to my Tumblr. It's all Live Laugh Stuck. Everywhere is Live Laugh Stuck. LiveLaughStuck.com. I actually made a page there for socials, so you don't have to go into the description of an episode for that. One day I'll finish updating the guests page because I have a lot of guests that deserve their own section on there, but that hasn't happened yet. I have a lot of stuff to do, you know? There's a lot of little things to be done in podcast maintenance that I don't do.
Yeah.
But yeah, so livelaststuck.com for all that stuff. The Ko-fi is ko-fi patreon.com/jaxyaks, JAXYACKS. Please go give me money. So I can give money to Domi and turn a profit. Turn a $1 profit would be great.
Yeah. I set up
You also can,
I set up a goal on my Ko-fi to earn a whole 10 buckaroos and no donations yet, but I don't really advertise it much.
Yeah. Is that linked on your website? I think I have the pizza website on.
It might not even be on there because I'm bad at.
And that might not even be linked anywhere. So
yeah,
it's mysterious.
Mm-hmm. It is not. I will add it.
But yeah, you get bonus episodes. Bonus episodes are usually just bonus clips, like cut content, like the class spec stuff. We got Moosey's aspect figured out, and so that is on a bonus section. Also, sometimes I'll just ramble and Domi will cut that out and I will upload it. But there's like one bonus episode about class specting characters from Wolf 359. You also get all of my bonus stuff. So we did a bonus episode for my Fake Gamer Pro podcast that was talking about Inscription. So that's up there. So yeah, the Ko-fi stuff gets you all bonus content for everything I ever do. And also I will just appreciate you a whole lot. Anyway, this is the end of the episode now. Goodbye.
Goodbye.